So I was saying that I'm extremely excited to be on Twitch and to spend those 2 weeks with you. First of all, we're at the Australian Open, which is a Grand Slam, the first Grand Slam of the year. And there are a lot of things that we want to discover. There are a lot of question marks, and we're going to watch some incredible tennis together for 2 weeks. We're going to do a few different things here on my Twitch channel. First of all, we're going to have TV shows during which we're gonna talk about what's happening at the tournament, the people who won, the one who lost, the people who get injured, the ones that we feel are in a great form and the ones that we feel are not. And we're gonna try to anticipate what can happen. We're gonna, of course, also watch together live matches. We're gonna focus on one match per day and one match per night. So 1 day session, 1 night session. We're going to start the streaming before, probably something like 30 minutes before. And during those 30 minutes, we're going to look at both of the players in details. We're going to break down their game with the strengths, their weaknesses. We're going to have a lot of data to also understand better their style of play, what they're good at, what they're not. Try to understand the strategies that they're going to have, they're going to employ against the opponent on both sides. And it's going to help us, while we watch the match, understand much better. During the match, we're going to also have my team, my data team, who's going to provide a lot of interesting data to see what's happening and understand why this player is winning, why he's not winning at another moment of the match, and understand the match better in general. It's my first time on Twitch. I'm not a specialist of the platform. Maybe some of you are, maybe some of you are not. It's an amazing platform to discuss. So you have a chat, you can write, I'm going to read, and I can answer all of you. You can express opinions, you can ask questions. So that's really the purpose. The purpose is also to have a dialogue and not only one person talking all the time. Of course, I'm going to talk more than you, but that's what I'm here for. Okay, so let's start talking about the tournament. The first thing I want to talk about is the players who are absent. Unfortunately, there are some great players who won't play this year. The first one is Holger Rune. You probably remember having seen those images of him during a match breaking his Achilles tendon. Unfortunately, it's a very bad injury. It takes a lot of time to recover from it. He had surgery. He's posting a lot of social media. I'm sure you saw it, showing his practice on a chair. Now, after the surgery, he can finally stand up, but he's not moving. But he's playing, and he's on the way to recovery. But he's not going to be able to play tournaments anytime soon. The other one that is missing is Jack Draper. The British is amazing. We're seeing at the moment the images of Holger sitting and hitting. I want to stay a little bit on that because that was reminding us of Thomas Muster. You remember he had a very bad injury too. He got hit by a car. His knee was really extremely hurt. It took him many months to be able to step on a court, and he was playing sitting on a chair. Those images were super famous at that time, and Holger is doing the same. So a lot of forehands, as you can see. Backhand was more tricky with only sitting, and we see what he loves to do because we've seen him hit a lot of drop shots, which is one of his favorite shots. Okay, let's move to Jack Draper. Jack Draper had an incredible first half of the season with a victory in Madrid, broke into the top 10. He's an amazing player. He's progressed a lot last year. He's someone that I'm sure will do extremely well in the future. He's already at a very high level, of course. He had a problem with his arm. He thought he would be back. He planned even to play UTS Grand Final in London at the end of the season, but he couldn't. He finally pulled out. Then he really hoped to be here at the Australian Open, but his arm is not ready yet. It's really a long injury. And as you can see, Rune, Draper, very young players with major injuries. which is a bit concerning. And the third one is also very young. It's the French Arthur Fils, who has a back problem for like quite a long time. We remember this match in Roland Garros where he got the stress fracture. Since Roland Garros, he tried to play at the US Open, but finally could not. And he's still not back. So he's also very disappointed. But 3 very young players with big injuries already. Then we have Nick Kyrgios. Nick, I mean, this is a 2 years injury we're talking about. He had several surgeries, the wrist first, then the knee. He's back. He, at the start, wanted to play the Australian Open, and he ended up saying that he wants to leave his spot to someone who deserves it more because, you know, he didn't play in competition for 2 years except one match at UTS, but was last summer, and one match in a tournament just before the Australian Open. Well, it was not enough. He played an exhibition and won his match, by the way, but he doesn't feel ready enough to play 5 sets Grand Slam, so he's going to be out. And then we have 2 more players who get out today. Matteo Berrettini, another player that has so many injuries, and again, it's the abdominals that are bothering him for so long. And finally, the French Arthur Cazot, who has a problem at his elbow, problem that he had already in the past, that came back. So that's for the absence. Sorry, a few of the players. I'm just checking the chat to see if they are already. Oh, I have a question about Osgood Schlatter for tennis players. So the Osgood Schlatter is an injury, a knee injury, but it's in general for young players who are growing very fast. It's suffering from the cartilage of the knee. It happens quite a lot, yes, especially for players who grow very, very fast. The only thing that players can do is stop until the pain goes away, because it's dangerous to play on an Osgood Schlatter because the cartilage that is very fragile while you grow can break, and it can be the end of a career. So it's very important to, take the time. Let's talk about the question mark. So there are some players that are set to play, but we have some questions about them. And the first one is Novak Djokovic, because he started with he didn't play. First of all, he didn't play one tournament before the Australian Open, which was a bit of a surprise because at his age, it's important to have a few matches to get the body going, because competition is different from practice. But if he ended up retiring from the tournament he was supposed to play, and then he started to practice at the Australian Open. So he did practice, and the last days he got a neck problem. He had to stop his practice after 12 minutes. Didn't play the day after, so there are some concerns. And I think that I know we have a video of his press conference in which he speaks about his fitness in general. So I would like you to see that video, and then we can talk about it. Let's go.
Any competition, any official tournament, and I took some time off, and obviously took more time to rebuild my body, because I understand that in the last couple of years that's what changed the most for me. It takes more time to rebuild, and it also takes more time to reset or recover.
Yeah, I think he said 2 things. First of all, he said that he needs more time to reset. But the thing is, Novak is playing really on and off a lot. Of course, I understand that he cannot play the full year, the full calendar, but he makes long stops for 2 months, for 3 months. He's focusing so much only on the Grand Slams. So, of course, it's difficult to reset. Second thing, he talked about the recovery, and of course at his age, recovering from tough matches is really difficult, and that's why Grand Slams are so difficult for him, because it's more brutal to play 5 sets, to play sometimes very, very long matches. The recovery is not easy, and when it comes to the last stages, you play the top players, you cannot win 6-3, 6-2, 6-3. It has to be really longer and more physical matches. And if you're not able to recover well, then your body's suffering in the next one. And a lot of times, I mean, think about it, he reached the semifinals of the 4 Grand Slams last year, which is an incredible performance. Unbelievable performance at 38 years old. It's unreal. But a lot of times, playing the best players in the world, which were basically Alcaraz or Sinner, you could see that his body was not 100%. You could see that he was, I wouldn't say injured, maybe it would be too much, but suffering from physical pain coming from probably the previous matches. So that's really a key for him, to be able to make a preparation in which that gives him the opportunity to recover better. Of course, age plays a role, and you can do nothing against age. But I'm sure, knowing how professional he is, he's probably the most professional player I've ever met, that is looking at all the options to recover better between matches in Grand Slams. Let's move to Fonseca, who's the Brazilian star, even though he's not in the top 10 yet, but we all know the incredible potential that he has. He's 19 years old. He's number 30 in the world. He's an amazing player. He's definitely someone who'll be in the last stages of the Grand Slams at some point. He's suffering from the back. He withdrew from Brisbane and Adelaide because of his back. And we also have a video of his press conference in which he explains the back problem that he has.
Something in my back, and sometimes is more tight, and yeah, already had a stress fracture 5 years ago, but it's something that it's gonna be in my body, so I need to deal with it, and yeah, just trying my best to recover. We did MRI, and it's nothing very serious, but can be serious. So we want to be 100% to play.
So you've experienced this before. You know the trigger signs when something.
Yeah, we know. So yeah, we know that can be worse. So we're taking care of it.
And you're still confident that you'll be right for Melbourne with the right rest and recovery?
Yeah, we are very confident that it's going to be, I don't know, I mean, it's science. We hope that we're going to be 100%, but yeah, there's chance for both, and we're doing, what I can say is that we are doing our best to play.
João, is there a certain shot or a certain movement on the court that where you feel your back, or is it just an all?
Yeah, he had a stress fracture. Actually, the same injury as the one that Fitz had. You see, Fitz had this problem in Roland Garros. We are at the Australian Open, so probably 8 months later, and he's still not able to play a tournament. So it's really a bad injury. You don't want to get there. There are some signs of a potential stress fracture that can happen. It's a different stage of the back suffering. So it's important to listen to the body, and it's also important to do the job in order to, not make sure it doesn't happen, because you never know, but do the work necessary to protect as much as possible the back. I think that Fonseca is going to play. I'm almost sure he's going to play his first round. And I think he's going to see how things are going, and if his back's improving, or if his back's getting worse. And at some point, if it's getting worse, probably he will pull out. I hope we don't get there, because actually even I was looking at the draw, and if I look at the draw, where is he in the draw? Yeah. It would be a third round against Sinner, and we want to see that if he's able to win his first 2 matches. Yes, he's gonna play Sinner, so we want to see that. So we hope his back is gonna at least be able to suffer the first 2 matches to see that match that promises to be super exciting. The third player I want to talk about with the question marks is Rude, not for a potential injury, but because his wife is pregnant. She's supposed to give birth soon, and he said, if the baby's coming, then I have to come back home. I want to be with my wife when she delivers my first kid, so he can come back home anytime. So a lot of question marks for him. His future in that tournament doesn't depend on him, but on the baby. Whenever the baby wants to come. I have a question from Jean-Remy from Nice. Do you see this Australian Open as a transition slam between generations? Well, it's a very good question. I don't think it's yet a transition. I mean, first of all, Alcaraz and Sinner are here for a very long time, so I wouldn't talk about transition. The question is, the younger players or the players of their age, are they going to be able to start to beat them a little bit in big tournaments so that there is more competition? I don't think we're here yet. I think there are a few guys that have still the potential to continue to develop and potentially in the next years be a danger for Sinner Alcaraz, but at the moment they're not ready. I don't think so. And we're going to talk later anyway about the young guns, because there are young guns that will play the tournament that are extremely exciting too. Next one is Fritz. Fritz, who's also suffering physically. He has a knee tendinopathy. Sorry, I feel like you're at the doctor today, but that's a fact. We have a lot of injured players. I mean, he said it himself that all the preseason he was more focusing on rehab and working on his knee than doing the work he wanted to do. Of course, he practiced, but he didn't play many points because he didn't want to push too much on his knee. He didn't do a great start of 2026. I think he's really managing his knee, so we'll see how his knee is evolving throughout the tournament. We have Lorenzo Musetti, another young player who had to retire in the exhibition the week before the Australian Open. He was supposed to play, he was playing a match against Zverev and he retired. Didn't want to take a risk. He has a back problem. And Lehechka, who retired in Brisbane with a right ankle problem. So that's the question marks, because those players are supposed to play the Australian Open. We'll see how far they can go and if the injuries are too much of a burden or not for them to go far. Okay, let's talk about the best players, the top 10. Then we'll talk about the dark horses and also about the young guns that we want to follow at this Australian Open. So what I did, which is something that I did on Instagram already before the US Open, I have sections for each player. One is general level, current form, efficiency on that surface, ability to lift his level on big matches, experience to win a Grand Slam, and physical and mental freshness. And I'm going to rate all the top 10s on this. We're going to add all their grades, and we have a total out of 60. And then I'm going to give you a prediction for each of the players, which will take into consideration, of course, for all of them, all those criteria. So the first criteria is the general level, and the first player is Carlos Alcaraz. What's the general level of Carlos Alcaraz? I give him a 10 out of 10. He has 11,500 ATP points. The number 3 in the world has 5,100 points, which is less than half of what he has. His head-to-head against Yannick is leading 4-2 last year. He's number 1 in the world. I think the general level is unreal. I can say the same about Yannick, of course. What about his current form? And I give him a 7, which is really tough, but I explain why. He had a great 2025. He won 2 Grand Slams. He's world number 1. So how can I give him a 7? The thing is, he's split with his longtime coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, who we all know played an incredible big role in his development and career so far. So there is a big question mark. We don't know how he's going to recover from it. Of course, he said it in the press conference. He has kept the same team. Yeah, but one person is missing, but it's not one person. He was the most important person of the team, the person who knows him the best, the person he trusts the most, the person that is with him since he's 14 years old. So we don't know how he's going to deal with it. We don't know either how destabilized he can be because, of course, I mean, whenever he has a press conference or questions, it's all about his split with Juan Carlos. So this can be also a bit destabilizing. So let's see how he can perform. The thing is, he didn't play one tournament leading to this Australian Open, which is a bit surprising for me. I mean, he didn't, Sinner didn't, Novak didn't. This is really weird to me because it's such a long break, this preseason, before the first Grand Slam of the season. I mean, you need to play at least 1 or 2 matches to start to feel, the competition. And when you play your first match of the year, trust me, you're sore. You're very sore because you can practice as much as you want. A match is a different effort, and all the players are sore. So you don't want to get sore during Grand Slam. Let's get sore the week before, the 2 weeks before, and then you won't be sore during the Grand Slam. Anyway, he didn't play, so we don't know how he plays at the moment. I think 7 out of 10 is a bit tough. Maybe 8 is more accurate, but we don't know. We don't know. That's the truth. His efficiency on the surface, I gave him a 9 out of 10. Why not 10? I could have given 10 because he plays amazing on hard courts. His success at the US Open can say it, but he never went far in that tournament. And actually, he said that's his number one goal. This year, he wants to win the Australian Open. Even he prefers to win the Australian Open and none of the other Grand Slams than other Grand Slams. So that's really, really his number one focus this year. So I gave him a 9 out of 10 because he never had success here in the past, and he won the 3 other Grand Slams, as we all know. Then the next criteria is his ability to lift his level on big matches. I gave him a 10 out of 10. He is almost always able to play his best tennis when it counts the most in the big semifinals and the big finals of the Grand Slam. So that's for sure, he has this ability. The next one is his experience to win a Grand Slam, 10 out of 10. He's extremely young, but he already has such a long experience winning Grand Slams that he can have only a 10. And finally, the physical and mental freshness, I gave him an 8. He should be fresh, and all the players should be more or less fresh. Because after the preseason, you are supposed to be. But he played 0 tournaments. We know the effort that competition, as I just said, is. So he can play a role. And on the mental side, all this discussion, this talk about his ex-coach can affect him mentally and make him a bit tired mentally. So I give him only an 8. So the chances here, he has 55, because I changed my 7 out of 10 into an 8 out of 10, 55 out of 60. And I think he's going to reach the final of this Australian Open. I don't think he's going to win because I think Yannick has almost 10 everywhere, but he will be in the final. And of course, we know in final anything can happen. So let's move to Yannick Sinner. General level, of course, I give him also a 10 out of 10. Let me see just the questions before I move to Yannick, by the way. Who do I think will win the Australian Open? I think Yannick Sinner is going to win the Australian Open. I think he's, if you look at the last 6 months, on the last 6 months, he's the best player in the world, I think. So I see him as I know. Also, the fact that Carlos had this split with his coach, I give an extra point to Sinner, and I think Yannick will win. I'm just checking the other questions. What's the biggest mistake players make right after a coaching change? I mean, the biggest mistake they do is to make a big change, is to have a coach who has a completely different view from the previous one, and you can get lost quite easily. In the case of Carlos, it's not going to happen because, I mean, Juan Carlos had a second coach working with him, who became the number one coach of Yannick, of Carlos. But he knows Carlos extremely well, this coach, and Carlos knows him very well. So for sure, they're going to continue on the same line that has been so successful. Let's move to Yannick. Okay, Yannick Sinner, general level, 10. Oh, someone asked me my hidden gem for this Australian Open. Be patient. I'm coming. I'm going there. We'll talk about this a bit later. I have my dark horses that I'm gonna tell you about, and I have also the young guys that I think are the most interesting to follow. Yannick, general level, 10 out of 10. Same as Carlos Alcaraz. Crazy number of points. I mean, so far from the number 3. Current form, I give him a 10 also. I mean, 2025 was incredible for him. 2 Grand Slams, 1 plus the ATP finals. That's crazy. And he made the final of the 4 Grand Slams, which is another crazy thing. Actually, he was 1 point away from winning 3 Grand Slams and the ATP finals because he had match points, 3 match points, by the way, against Carlos in the final of Roland Garros. So that's really incredible. He also has the higher percentage of victories than Carlos, with 91% of victories in 2025. Carlos has 89. It's not that far, but he's still a bit above. And he has only 500 points difference with Carlos, which is not much. Missing 3 months. Remember last year he had this doping affair, and he was not able to play, not authorized to play for 3 months. So with 3 months less playing tournaments than Carlos, he has only 500 points less than Carlos. So the indoors didn't lose one single match. The end of the season was like crazy. Efficiency on the surface, 10 out of 10, of course. Ability to lift his level on big matches, 10 out of 10. Experience to win a Grand Slam, 10 out of 10. Physical and mental freshness, 10 out of 10. An important thing, if you compare again with Carlos, he didn't change anything in his team. Darren Cahill was supposed to leave at the end of the season. They had a discussion, and Yannick convinced him to do at least one more season. So no change, which is in a way an advantage. So chances to win here, 60 out of 60. So prediction, winner. From your coaching perspective, what has changed the most in his game over the past year? You know, the year before, 2024, was also an amazing year for Yannick. I think last year he saw that he was not having as many tools in his game as Carlos. Of course, the quality of his game was unbelievable, but he didn't really have a plan B. And I think he added a lot of things in his game. Drop shot, coming a lot more to the net. I mean, all the things that Carlos does so well, he worked on it, and you could see it during the year. So he did everything, and he will continue to do so to make his game evolve and get better and better. We're gonna move, before answering the questions, to Sasha Zverev. Sasha has a general level of 8 out of 10. He's the number 3 in the world. Generally very consistent, but not for 1 year, for many years. He's one of the guys who works the most. And he's rarely losing to players that are ranked above him, under him, but he doesn't beat the big two. He doesn't beat them. His current form, I would give him a 7 out of 10. I don't think he's at the best of his form. He had a tough second half of 2025. With a third round loss at the US Open, lost in the quarterfinals in Beijing, third round in Shanghai, lost in the round robin at the ATP finals that didn't qualify. And in 2026, he lost to Urkac in the United Cup. So a lot of losses that we are not used to seeing when it comes to Sasha Zverev. So I give him a 7. Efficiency on the surface, he has a 10. He already played the final here at the Australian Open. I think it's a great surface for him. Ability to lift his level on big matches, I give him an 8 out of 10. He played some big matches on big moments of his career. But he missed some opportunities. The final of the US Open against Dominic Thiem, he was, this match was kind of for him. And Roland Garros against Alcaraz, he was leading 2 sets to 1. He never took them. So that's why he has an 8. Experience to win a Grand Slam, I give him an 8. He never did, but he played 2 finals, US Open and Roland Garros. Actually, maybe 3, no? Didn't he play the final of the Australian Open last year against Sinner? So yeah, I think 3 Grand Slam finals. So he has a lot of experience to win a Grand Slam, but never won. So 8. Physical and mental freshness, I give him an 8 out of 10. It's the start of the year, so he should be fine physically. But I give him only 8 because mentally, I think he's thinking a bit because he's not at the top of his form at the moment. Chances here out of 10, 49. Not out of 10, out of 60, sorry. 49 out of 60. And my prediction for him is a quarterfinal. Let me see the draw. Zverev, yeah. I made my predictions, and I see him reach the quarters for sure. But I see him lose. You'll see later against who I see him lose in quarters. We moving? Let's move to Novak. I give him a 9 out of 10 on the general level because for me he's number 4 ATP, not 3. But just because he's not interested in other tournaments than Grand Slams. So he lost in the first round in 2025 in Doha, in Indian Wells, in Monte Carlo, in Madrid. I don't even know where he played. He didn't really try to win. He was not prepared. But he played the semifinal of all 4 Grand Slams, which is amazing. So for me, he's just the best of the field, but 1 level under Alcaraz and Sinner. And let's listen to what he says about those 2 guys.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 slams against either Sinner or Alcaraz. So, yeah, I mean, we don't need to praise them too much. They've been praised enough. We know how good they are, and they absolutely deserve to be where they are. I mean, they're the dominant forces of the men's tennis at the moment. But you know, I'm still trying to be in the mix. You know, not rankings wise. You know, I mean, being number 4 without really being focused on that. My priority is really taking care of my body and trying to, of course, treat every match like it's finals, but at the same time build momentum and also not spend unnecessary energy, you know, and hopefully I can go far again and get a chance to play them. I mean, I would love to have a chance to fight with one of those or maybe both of these guys here. Let's see if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising to me when he said that the Alcaraz and Sinner are a level above him. That's not. That doesn't sound like him. He's never said things like this in his career. He always, he always thought he was better than anyone. Not that it was cocky, because it happened to be real, because he believed so much in himself. So to hear him say that was, to me, a bit surprising. I've seen a question about what would you... Oh, sorry. Can you be the new coach of Carlos? No, I can't be the new coach of Carlos. I'm not coaching at the moment, and I don't plan to coach anytime soon. That's a personal choice. Otherwise, I mean, I think everybody wants to be the coach of Carlos at the moment. I mean, difficult to do to have a more exciting player as him. Let's go back to Novak. So general level 9 out of 10. I explain why. Current form 9 out of 10. You know, 4 Grand Slam semifinals last year. Where is he at the moment? Difficult to say because he didn't play any tournament before the Australian Open. But you know, Ended the season still with he played an ATP 250 in Athens, where he lives now, and he won it. So beat Musetti, a top 10 in the final. So I would say he's 9 out of 10. Efficiency on the surface, of course, 10 out of 10. The Australian Open is a tournament that he won the most, 10 times, which is crazy. So nobody can doubt his efficiency on the surface. Ability to lift his level on big matches, I give him a 9 out of 10 also. Because that's the story of his career. Why don't I give him a 10? Because, you know, he didn't do it when he played the 4 semifinals last year. But, you know, when Novak is on a mission, you know, he's unstoppable. That's what he is. Only in the final of the Olympics against Carlos, because he was on a mission. He won it, but, you know, the last 2 years he hasn't been able to beat really Alcaraz and Sinner. So we don't know if it's physical, if it's mental. I think he doesn't lift his level against those guys on the big matches. Otherwise, for the rest of his career, he has a little 11 out of 10 on big matches, but so far he has 9. I think we have a video explaining also why he decides to continue to play, and I think it's very interesting. A bit surprising, but interesting. Let's listen.
The highest, you know, motivations that you can have, of course, you know, that's the kind of a guiding star, but it's not the only motivation, you know. It's passion and love for the game. It's the interaction with people. It's the energy that you feel when you walk out on the court. That adrenaline rush, it's almost like a drug, to be honest, you know. And I think that a lot of the top athletes from different sports can relate to that. I mean, I've been at least hearing them speak about that, and it's like it's so addictive, you know, the feeling of competing.
Yeah, I said surprising because coming from him, we are used to hearing say, you know, I want to beat the record of all time, I want to be the best. So you can think, okay, he wants to win the 25th Grand Slam. No, he's talking about what he feels being on a court, the adrenaline, the connection with the crowd. I mean, it's definitely a drug, as he says. I mean, that's also the reason why Stan Wawrinka is still playing, Gael Monfils is still playing, because it's difficult to stop. When you are on the big stages, playing in front of huge crowds, being live on TV all over the world, having a lot of pressure, it's so special, you know, to think that you're going to live the rest of your life without this. Having done that for so long is difficult, so I understand that. But I said surprising because, again, coming from him, you expect something else. That he would say something else, but that's what it is. Experience to win a Grand Slam, 11 out of 10. Probably is the greatest of all times, the one who won the most Grand Slam, 24. So experience to win a Grand Slam, tough to beat. Physical and mental freshness, I gave him a 10 because he skipped the tournament, the first tournament of the year, to be better prepared. Even though he's 38 years old, his professionalism is so enormous that I think it can compensate his age and a lot of other things. The only thing is he had an alert in practice, and he had a neck problem, so he had to stop, and he canceled the next practice. So actually prepared this before this problem occurred, so maybe I give him a 9 out of 10 now. On the fitness side, not a 10. It's a total of 56, then, if I give him only a 9 out of 60, and I see Novak again in semi-final here. Okay, so let's move to Felix Auger-Aliassime, who is a very interesting case because his general level is 8 out of 10. He came back to the best level he had before after a tough year and a half. The second half of the season of 2025 was unbelievable. So he's back to the best, his best level. His current form is 10 out of 10 because, as I just said, the second part of the season was unbelievable. Listen to that. He scored, that's where he scored most of these points. So listen to the results. Quarterfinals in Cincinnati. Semifinals of the US Open. quarterfinals in Shanghai, winner in Brussels, finalist in Paris, and semi-finalist at the ATP finals. I mean, if you think about his results, the previous year and a half, that's huge. Efficiency on the surface, I give him a 9 out of 10. I think hard courts are his second best surface after indoor hard. Thank you. Ability to lift his level on big matches, I give him a 7 out of 10 because he's been able to beat the best players, but not Alcaraz. He lost in Turin semifinals. Not Sinner. He lost in Paris final. And he lost against Sinner also at the US Open in semifinals. So he can lift his level, but not to the level of the very top ones so far. So 7. Experience to win a Grand Slam, I give him a 7 too because he's gone quite far, but he never reached the final. Finally, physical and mental freshness, I give him a 10 out of 10. He played only 2 matches since the preseason, so he's super fresh, and he's an incredible athlete. No problem the second half of 2025, physical, so should be in a great physical shape and mental freshness. Chances here, out of 60, 51 out of 60, and I see him in quarterfinals. Yeah, actually, last 16 or quarterfinals, he would play Medvedev in last 16. Not sure he's gonna beat him, so last 16 or quarterfinals. We're moving to Alex de Minaur, unless I have a question. Have I received any offers to coach players? No, I have not, because I'm not currently looking for players. Let's move to Alex de Minaur. So general level, 8 out of 10. He's a super solid top 10 now. Current form, 10 out of 10. Very good end of the season, 2025. Quarters at the US Open. Semis in Beijing, where he lost to Sinner. Quarters in Shanghai, where he lost to Medvedev. Semis in Vienna, where he lost to Sinner again. Quarters in Paris, lost to Bublik. Semis in Turin, lost to Sinner again. And in 2025, he beat Urkac, which I think is one of the most dangerous dark horses at the moment. And he beat also Mensik, which is another dark horse. So lost to Rude, but beat 2 very good guys. So I think he's at the top of his game at the moment. Efficiency on the surface, 10 out of 10, and plus he's Australian. Let's not forget that. So, an Australian in Australia is always even more dangerous. But I think hard indoors and outdoors are his best surfaces. So I think it's great for him here. Ability to lift his level on big matches, I give him an 8 out of 10. Probably even more at the Australian Open. I explain why. But so far, he can't beat the big 2. So same problem as actually everybody else on that planet so far. His experience to win a Grand Slam, I give him 7 out of 10 because he's never been in a final. And he has no experience of winning a Grand Slam. But he has a solid experience going to the quarters. And physical and mental freshness, no physical issues. Oh, he had one actually. After Shanghai, he was supposed to play UTS. He pulled out. He has a problem on his hip that he had already before. He had it at Wimbledon, so it's bothering him. But at the moment, he ended up being able to play until the end of the season. I mean, he played some good tournaments actually and good results, and he looks in a good shape at the moment. So he has a 43 out of 60 chances here, and I see him in quarterfinals. Are we moving to Lorenzo Musetti? That would be great. General level, 8 out of 10, so 3 more top 10s. Lorenzo, super solid top 10, as I just said, 8 out of 10. Current form, 7 out of 10. He had some little physical issues. He retired of his exhibition match against Zverev last week, this week, by the way, but with back problems. So, and he lost again in final, which is probably affecting him. I think it's the 7th final in a row that he loses. Efficiency on the surface, 7 out of 10. I think clay is his best surface. Then grass, than hard courts. Ability to lift his level in big matches, I give him an 8 out of 10 because he showed up on several occasions on big matches. Never enough to beat Alcaraz and Sinner. I think I feel I'm saying the same for everyone. Chances here, 44 out of 60. So I see him in the last 16. Let's move to Ben Shelton. I have questions about, in French, but I'm going to answer in English, about Bublik. But again, 8 Shelton. Then we go to Fritz, number 9. And then we have Bublik, number 10. So we're almost there to talk about him. So Ben Shelton's general level, I give him an 8. Super solid top 10 now. Current form, 7 out of 10. Since Toronto, that he won, didn't really play at the same level. And the start of the season, he had 1 victory and 1 match lost, which is not, his standards. We see him with someone who's going to play against. He was the UTS final in Frankfurt between Hugo Humbert and Ben Shelton. And they're going to play each other in the first round. It's an unbelievable first round here. And the match level was incredible. Ben won 3-1. And he said after the match that one of the quarters he played, probably the best 8 minutes of his life in terms of level. That was an incredible match on both sides. I mean, they're 2 lefties, 2 players, super aggressive, that play very fast, that love to come to the net, especially Ben. I mean, this match, it's a match impossible to miss. Efficiency on the surface for Ben, 10 out of 10. It's a perfect surface for him. His favorite is American. He was raised on hard courts. Before playing his first Australian Open, he never ever played a tournament out of the US, to tell you how much he played on hard courts. So 10. Experience to win a Grand Slam, 8 out of 10. He didn't play a final, but he almost always showed up on those tournaments. And I mean, one interesting story is the first Grand Slam he played was the Australian Open, and he never played any tournament out of the US before going to Australia to play a Grand Slam, and he reached the quarters. That's unbelievable. But that's how he is. When it's the most important tournaments, he's showing up all the time. Physical and mental freshness, 9 out of 10. No reason to doubt his form. Just the performance in the first tournament he played this year was in Auckland, was not as good as usual. So chances here, I give him 52 out of 60, and I see him in quarterfinals if he wins his first match. By the way, Ben Shelton. It's a very, very difficult first match. Hugo Humbert just played the final in Adelaide today, actually. He's in an incredible form. He plays faster than ever. It's going to be a really tough match for Ben that comes to the match with only 1 match won, 1 match lost. Not easy at all. And the match at UTS was really incredible. And I think that at the moment, Hugo plays even better than at that time. Let's move to Taylor Fritz, that has a general level 8 out of 10. Current form, 6 out of 10. Not good form. He said it himself. He spent his whole preseason trying to rehab his knee problem. So he really suffering from the knee. Second half of 2025 was under his usual level. And 2026, he won 1 match and he lost 3. Which is also very unusual. So not at his best at the moment. His efficiency on the surface, same as Ben, really a hardcore player. That's his best surface without any doubt. Can he lift his level in big matches? I give him a 9 out of 10. He played a few amazing matches on big moments, but never beat Alcaraz and Sinner on those occasions. Experience to win a Grand Slam, 8 out of 10. Never won, but went far several times. Physical and mental freshness, I give him 4 out of 10 because he's really suffering from the knee. And he said it, he couldn't practice the way he wanted. He had to take care of his knee. So he even said that his preparation leading to this Australian Open is not perfect, not great. So I give him, for the chances to win here, 45 out of 60, and I see him in the last 16. We're finally moving to Sasha Bublik. But before, I have a few questions. And do you think at the end of the day, will Ben go for the best, but maybe boring shot, or will his tendency to play entertaining tennis will block him from being fully successful? Well, I mean, he will always. I think he will always play some champagne tennis because that's his style. But Roger was playing also champagne tennis, and Alcaraz is playing also champagne tennis. It's just what is important is to have a very solid base and play those shots when you have a very high percentage of chances to make them. That's what makes the difference. And if you try shots with a low percentage of success, then this is not being efficient. Will he find a way to be efficient? Yes, I don't doubt it. I think he has great people around. I think his father is doing an amazing job. I mean, he was top 50 in the world in singles, coached in universities, coached tennis in universities in the US for 20 years. He has huge experience, and he's a very smart man. And I'm sure they have, of course, an incredible connection. So I'm sure he's gonna do it at some point. I mean, he progressed a lot lately. We're moving to Sasha Bublik. General level, 8 out of 10. Mr. Bublik is top 10 now. His current form is 10 out of 10. I mean, it cannot be better. Just won Hong Kong, beating Musetti in the final. Reached top 10 for the first time in his career. In 2025, he won Halle, Gstaad, Kitzbühel, Hangzhou, and he played the semifinal in Paris. I mean, that's a hell of 8 months, 9 months. Unbelievable. Efficiency on the surface, 10 out of 10. Hard and grass are his best two surfaces. Ability to lift his level on big matches, 8 out of 10. Because when he played Sinner in New York and in Roland Garros, got killed. In New York, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1. I mean, when you have that level, of course you will lose against Sinner because everybody in the top 10 does, but the score is too much. So find a way to give a better fight on those matches. But let's not criticize him because what he's done the last 9 months is incredible. Experience to win a Grand Slam, 6 out of 10, because in all his history, he never done really well in Grand Slams, not gone far, so he's lacking experience there. I don't know how much 5 sets is a good format for him or not. That could be an explanation. Physical and mental freshness, 8 out of 10. He played a lot, but is in such a positive cycle that, he can only be fresh mentally. Winning that much doesn't affect you as much. And chances here, 52 out of 60. But I see him last 16. Again, when we'll talk about the draw, I'll tell you why. I think Bublik is one of the most talented player. He can make surprise and win a Grand Slam. I mean, one day, yes, to see him win the Australian Open, I don't see him. Is he talented? Yeah, of course. He's very creative as well. What was the other question? The reason for Bublik's success, I think he just got more confident in his ability to rally from the baseline. I think before he was playing not only drop shots, but way too many drop shots because he didn't feel that he was able to move and rally with the best players. And by doing it, and I think UTS helped him a lot because he played a lot of rallies from the baseline because that's what UTS formats pushes you to do. I think it gave him the confidence. This confidence made a big difference because now he hits the drop shot when it's the right shot. I mean, not all the time, but most of the time. Before he was hitting drop shots because he was avoiding to rally. That's a huge difference. Do I think that Nick Kyrgios could become number one? No, I don't think so. I don't think he can become number one. Can he come back to a good level? We'll see. I think for him the priority is to play matches because he hasn't played for almost none for 2 years and starts to be a bit long. Are we ready to move to the dark horses? I think everybody loves the dark horses. The surprises, the guys that you don't expect and who finally go far. So it's not players that we don't know, of course. It's players we know, but they're not top 10. They're not expected to go to the semis or quarters of a Grand Slam. And I think they can. The first one is the best players of the group because he's a Grand Slam winner. But, he dropped a lot in the rankings. Came back end of the season, he came back to a good level. It's Medvedev. Medvedev, nobody would think of him going to a semifinal of a Grand Slam the last six months. The last year, let's say it. I see him in semifinals. I think he can definitely... Oh, we have some images of Nick. With, actually, it was a T-shirt that was saying Greece, because as we know, he's half Greek. That's the match he played, I think, and won, right? That's practice. Okay. So the first one is Medvedev. So Medvedev, let's have a look at his draw. I think he has a very decent draw. He would have to beat on the way to the semifinals Felix Auger-Aliassime in the fourth round and Sasha Zverev in the quarterfinals, but I think he can do it. I think he plays really well at the moment, and I think he can definitely come to reach the semifinals. The second one is Hugo Humbert. So he's playing Ben Shelton in the first round, and even though I believe a lot in Ben Shelton, I was extremely impressed by Hugo Humbert lately, and I think he might win this match, and then if he does, reach the quarterfinals. But think about it: first round Humbert against Shelton, and the winner will play against Gaël Monfils. That's a hell of a draw. We see again the images of the UTS final in Frankfurt with incredible level on both sides. My next one, dark horse, Hurkacz. A player that was injured, that changed coach, and he came back in 2026. Unbelievable level. Actually, he beat Zverev at the United Cup, playing really, really, really well. I see him in the last 16. Hurkacz, even though he has a difficult draw, if I remember well, let me see where he is. To reach the last 16, he will have to beat Zizou Bergs in the first round. That's one of the very interesting first round. He will have to beat Mensik in the third round, which will not be easy because Mensik is also one of the guys that I see third round. He's one of my dark horses also. I see Mensik is playing incredible. We see Hurkacz at practice at the moment on the screen at my tennis academy in the south of France. Yeah, he did a super preseason, and he's serving unbelievable. Actually, during the match against Zverev, Zverev was complaining about the quality of Hurkacz's serve, was saying, what the hell, this guy is serving only aces. But even from the baseline, I think he's playing amazing at the moment. He will be dangerous, very dangerous. So as Mensik, they might play each other soon, unfortunately, too soon in the tournament. And the last one that I see in quarterfinals is Mahac. Mahac, who was also injured in the end of last season, but just won Adelaide, beating Humbert in final. The level of Mahac is incredible. Another crazy first round. Mahac against Dimitrov first round. What the hell is this first round? I see him go far. I see him beat potentially Dimitrov, Musetti, and Fritz to reach the quarters. If he does, it's a hell of a performance, but I see him as a dark horse. Okay. what's next? The young guns. We all love the young guns. Oh, somebody's asking me to do Greek sport. We can talk also about Grigor first, Dimitrov. Dimitrov got injured in Wimbledon after leading 2-0 against Sinner, playing probably the best tennis of his career, and he broke his pec, torn the pec, so took him several months. He had a surgery, several months to recover. Played just one match before the end of the season. Was at Paris, indoors, won it. Didn't want to play the second one. So he's coming back, but he's not yet at his best level. And that's also why playing Mahac in the first round, who's playing incredible at the moment, I think it's going to be difficult. But of course, it's Grigor. Grigor can surprise. Such an amazing player. About Griekspoor, I don't know really what to say. I can talk about Griekspoor. Of course, he's a very good player. Big serve, huge forehand, and great competitor. He's always a danger. I don't know who is he playing in the first round. I didn't check. I'm going to check straight away. He's playing against Ethan Quinn. Okay. Not a great start of the season for him. Played 2 matches in the United Cup, lost both of them in 2 sets. One against Urkac, one against Zverev, and then he played Adelaide and he lost first round against Hugo Humbert 6-4, 6-1. So 3 matches, 3 losses. Not the best start, but he has a first round that is winnable. So let's hope for him that he can win this one and then come back to his usual level, because he's a very, very solid player, for sure. So, last thing is the young guns. So, young guns, we have 4 that I really want to focus on, because I think that's the 4 most interesting ones at the moment. One American. Actually, there are 2 Americans, but I'm going to start with one who's 27 ATP, only 20 years old. It's Tin. Very impressive player. He's a lefty. Not big. I think his quality number 1 is he's calm. Unbelievable. I've never seen him panic, and I've seen him play quite a lot of matches. Always in control. Always extremely clear in his choices. Extremely smart on the court. He looks like he plays with 20 years of experience, and the guy is 20 years old, so that's really impressive. The first big result he did was to beat Medvedev at the Australian Open last year, and he went up in the ranking very, very fast. He's already 27 in the world, so of course we want to follow this player. The second one is Mensik, already 18 ATP, only 20 years old too. Amazing. So tall player, big serve, incredible backhand. Really, he can do anything on the court, comes to the net. He won his first Masters 1000 this year, beating Novak in the final. Was in Miami. Is a really potential Grand Slam winner in the future. People don't speak about him too much, which is quite surprising because he's an amazing player. I want to also name Mikkelsen, the American, who's 37 in the world and only 21 years old. Big, powerful player. And finally, Fonseca, of course. 30 ATP and only 19 years old. We have a video of Roger Federer talking about him in the press conference just before the tournament, and I think it's worth listening.
For anybody, I would think that that's hopefully what he's thinking. Of course, you don't want to get carried away and think too far ahead. But like in our time when people say, I'm going to try to win the Australian Open. But, there is all the other legends in the room. Sometimes I felt the media almost didn't allow them to speak up, but I feel like anybody in the draw should come here and say, I want to win the Australian Open. It should be totally allowed, and same for Joao. I hope he has that mindset, to be honest. And I think what separates him from a lot of the other guys in the draw is just his power, forehand, backhand, serve, and just what he's able to bring that point for point, you know. And he's exciting. He's got good aura. I feel he's a very likable character as well. And I like watching him play, to be honest. I briefly met him at the Labour Cup. I saw him also courtside and also from the back, and it was impressive to see. And obviously, I just think he's more a little bit like me in the sense that he just needs a little bit more time to work on his game and know, like actually similar to Yannick as well, to know when to dial back and when to unload his shots, you know. And once he's going to figure that out. Obviously, sky's the limit, you know. And but obviously, I think he's truly one of the guys who can compete for the biggest wins.
Carol?
If I would coach, well, never say never, but Edberg said the same. But I am very busy and
extremely
I got
positive.
4 children and no chance for the moment.
Well, I think the second thing was the question about him coaching Alcaraz. And of course, I mean, this question has been asked a lot to him lately. I mean, he clearly said that for the moment with his children, he has no time, but he said, why not in the future? Now I want to come back to what he said about Fonseca. Yeah. He said 2 things interesting. I mean, I heard 2 things. Both were interesting. The first one is he shouldn't just want to be there, part of this group with Alcaraz and Sinner, but he should want to be the best, should want to win the Grand Slam, beat the 2 other guys. The exact attitude that had Novak when Roger and Rafa were dominating the game. Novak was nobody, and he came with this confidence to become better than the 2 others and beat them and be number 1. And he did. Of course, it's not because you want it that you make it, but if you don't think that like that, then you're not going to do it. And that's exactly what Roger was saying about Joe Fonseca. Second thing, he was more talking about his game, as we see some images of him at the moment playing. He was saying that, you know, he has the power, and he said he has more power than most of the guys, which I agree. He has an incredible power. And he said he needs more time to develop, like Yannick or like himself, just to know. I mean, it's about shot selection. When do I have to play deep? When do I have to attack? And be a bit more structured. And this takes a little bit of time and experience in the matches to be able to do that. So Roger is saying basically, give him a bit of time, but he's going to definitely be there. And he's going to definitely be a threat to Alcaraz and Sinner, which is quite exciting. I have a question about UTS. I mean, we cannot say for the moment. I'm really sorry. The next UTS is going to be just the week before Monte Carlo. Is going to be in Nîmes again. You know, this arena that is 2,000 years old, that looks like a place for gladiators. You saw probably the images last year. All over. I mean, the images were all over the world because that was so impressive. We're going to go back to Nîmes. And for the rest, we will say in a few weeks. It's not officialized yet for UTS. I have a question about the most elegant player at the moment. I mean, if we just talk about elegance, I would say maybe Grigor Dimitrov. But I think Alcaraz, when he plays, there is some kind of a magic also. And there is something of Roger, definitely, in Alcaraz game. So, of course, not as fluid as Roger, but quite close. Okay, I just want to talk about the first rounds that we need to watch. There are a few matches impossible to miss. And the first one I spoke about already is the Shelton Humbert. Unbelievable match to watch. Ben, one of the most exciting player on tour, top 10, won a Masters 1000 last year, and he has a super difficult first round against Hugo Humbert, who just played the final of Adelaide, who's lefty like him. They played each other in the final of Frankfurt. That was an incredible match. So it's a very tough first round, especially at the moment for Ben, which the match can go 5 sets. We have the Dimitrov against Mahac, same. Grigor not at the very best because he's coming back from injury, and Mahac playing incredible. just won Adelaide, beating Humbert in the final. So that's a crazy good first round. We have the Zverev against Diallo. I think that match we're going to commentate, by the way. So that's images of Grigor in Brisbane practicing with his fluid game that Roger actually said that reminded him of his own game. So accepts the comparison of the game with Grigor. So Zverev Diallo. So that's also a very good match because Diallo is such a dangerous player. Huge power, big serve, super aggressive, coming to the net. So, we have actually some images of Diallo because he practiced at my academy also in south of France not so long ago. He was playing points against Hurkacz in indoors during the preseason. He's in black with a black shirt here, playing with Hurkacz. And we see that it's a super aggressive player who often comes to the net to finish up the point, and serve is huge. Yeah, so that match, very interesting. The only thing is Diallo changed coach. He had the same coach, Martin Laurando, since 2023, and it changed during the preseason. It's always a bit of a dangerous moment when you change your coach. And now he's coached by a Swedish duo, Jonas Björkman and Ortogren. Let's hope it works because this match against Zverev is very promising. Incredible first round. Another incredible first round is Hurkacz against Zizou Bergs. Hurkacz is probably one of the guys who are the most dangerous at the moment, as I said, and Bergs too. Bergs is playing incredible level at the start of 2026, so this is a crazy first round. And the last one, maybe might surprise you, is Rinderknecht, the French guy who's seeded, who played the final of Shanghai, who has a huge game that is really fun to watch, and he's playing against Marozsan. And Marozsan, to me, is a very dangerous player too. He was in my dark horses, by the way. Marozsan I'm impressed by the level of this player. When he's on, he's playing so fast, a bit like Hugo Humbert. He's able to play at an incredible pace, serves big, returns incredibly well, takes the ball so early, plays quite flat. It's crazy. So this Rinderknecht Marozsan, very interesting. Two players also you can't miss because that's their last season. And we love them. When I say we, I think almost everyone loves them. I'm talking, of course, about Gaël Monfils, who's playing his last season, and Stan Wawrinka, same season also. Monfils will play Sweeney, first round. And Wawrinka will play against Jere. Make sure you watch them. I think, actually, I'm going to do a commentary for Wawrinka's match. Thank you very much. I'm going to take a bit of rest, and I see you back for Zverev against Diallo. Bye-bye.